So, I do not know anything about this. I'm going in this with only seeing this just plastered all over my feed, and I'm just absolutely getting sick of seeing it. So, I need to go and watch it and find out why it is so big. But, yeah. I'm really not a fan of drama, and it surprises me, but for the best community on Twitch, they are so into, like, really writing up drama, but when it's such a big topic and when, like, things need to be exposed, I mean, I think it's fair enough. And, yeah, away we go.
One of the biggest voices
Let's
in the Trackmania
see
community, I often get asked to use my
what we have to
platform for the
say.
sake of good. On the Trackmania Reddit page, the user Slobodan Madara brought up that Virtual could use his reach for something useful for once,
Yes,
and
I agree.
expose such toxic behavior. Toxicity in Trackmania is something to be talked about, and you could probably write a book about it by now.
And that's what I just
This
said
user
at the
is,
intro.
unfortunately, completely correct. There's been a lot of bad things happening that nobody is talking about, and it shouldn't be that way. Recently, I was approached with information that
I mean, yeah, like, I don't want to talk about negative stuff. I don't really want to be involved in it either. But, yeah, like, if it has to be shown, it has to be shown, I suppose.
If true, would challenge what everyone in Trackmania believes to be real. A story so preposterous it would be easiest to sweep it under the rug and ignore it. But when I come across heavy information, I believe that players have a right to know what's been going on, and that I have a responsibility to talk about it. My goal as a creator is, and has always been, to
I love how there's just the peaceful, classic virtual music in the background when it's such a serious topic. It's just casual piano.
share my passion and enjoyment for Trackmania.
Yeah, I don't know if it fits very well.
But please know before we dive deeper into this topic that this video is going to be very different from my other content. If you watch my channel for fun stories...
I'm not sure about that. He's done a lot of drama things before, I feel like, but maybe I'm wrong.
This video is not going to be one. You see, the message I received was about the player Eddie Rising, a new talent in Trackmania Lagoon, who over the last 2 years climbed to rank 1 in the game.
So this is all I know about this. Like, I'm not even sure if this is all about Riolu or not. All I've heard is there's this Eddie guy, and there's been memes on it. So let's find out.
After researching this topic, I am no longer so sure. The message contained concerns that Eddie isn't who he's claiming to be. The more I dug for evidence to support this claim, the more I was astounded by what I discovered. Not only was there proof that this is true, but it also seemed possible that Eddie could have pretended to be other people in the community, including this Slobodan Madara account on Reddit. The finds in this investigation have all pointed towards one player being behind the Eddie account, and that is Riolu, the biggest cheater in Trackmania history, and someone who hasn't had any communication with the community since 2021. This story is equal parts fascinating and unsettling, and uncovers some of the wildest behaviors I've ever seen on the internet. Fasten your seatbelts, everybody, because there is a lot to talk about.
Why on earth has he been nominated? He isn't a real speedrunner. LeMayo, you beat the puzzle cheater. Well played. Are people targeting 92 Bob? Or is it just a coincidence? Is it just a coincidence, guys?
This is the story of Trackmania's biggest conman.
I'm very intrigued.
Before we go on, I'd like to thank Arcus, Darklink, Lufok, Tomashu, Big Bang 1112, Kim, and
Big Bang, the goat.
Players that, if it weren't for their help, this investigation would not have been possible. I would also like to say that this video is made with the main objective of informing the Trackmania community and documenting the events that have happened.
Oh, it's for views and money.
To contact or harass the players mentioned in this video. By publishing this information, we hope to achieve a better competitive environment in Trackmania, and any and all harassment would only counteract this effort. Thank you and enjoy.
Thank you.
For those that don't know the backstory of Riolu, I will quickly go through it since it is important context for this video. In 2021, it was discovered that replay files in the game store the exact steering inputs a player does in their run. The community member Donadigo made a tool to visualize these steering inputs, so players could better see how the best drivers had steered the car in their records. In most cases, this tool worked perfectly fine, But when it was used to display the inputs in records driven by Riolu, it would show inhumanly quick and jittery steering inputs.
Nice, just that good.
This eventually led to a huge cheating investigation looking at records in all Trackmania games, and a detailed report later proved, along with admissions from some of the cheaters, that records with these inhuman inputs had been achieved by driving in slow motion, using Cheat Engine to slow down.
You know, I'm not that good at the game, even with thousands of hours. But there was a single map where I got second on an Ardea map, and Techno was world record on it. So I've always thought and wondered. I think it was it, and there was a list of like cheated maps, and I can't remember if it was on it or not. But I'm like, I wonder if I actually had world record.
On the game speed.
I'm just gonna put that
this
there.
cheating method was incredibly effective, as it allowed the cheaters to.
It kind of surprised me that Techno was a cheater, but
in a game,
you know,
all
nothing
about
also
shaving off
surprises me
hundredths
either.
of a second. And for the longest time, it was completely undetectable. Out of the cheaters exposed in the report, Riolu was by far the most severe.
Riolu stole the world records without cheating, yeah.
In Trackmania United Forever,
Happened to a lot of people, unfortunately.
Canyon, Valley, Stadium, Lagoon, Trackmania Turbo, and recently it was discovered that he possibly.
And that's the thing as well,
cheated
like, look how many
in
games.
Trackmania 2020 as well.
So many of them.
During his years of cheating, he completely dominated the leaderboards. At one point, Riolu simultaneously held 62 out of 65 world records in Trackmania 2 Canyon campaign.
Damn, what a
and
gamer.
later, 64 out of 65 in Trackmania
Damn,
Valley.
even more
He
gamer.
achieved these feats while holding rank 1 in Trackmania United Forever. And in 2019, he managed to clean sweep Trackmania Turbo, with 200 out of 200 world records on official maps at the same time. In 2015, he was invited to drive strong official target times for the Super Trackmaster campaign in Trackmania Turbo. The community at the time thought he was simply the GOAT, but as we would later learn, these accomplishments were all cheated, including the official target times driven for Nadeo in Trackmania Turbo. In total, it amounts to a decade of cheating, from 2011 to 2020, and it's
That's the thing that I don't think people get. People are like, oh, maybe we can forgive him or whatever if he comes back and says sorry. It's a decade. It's not like a few times or 10 times or 20 times. It's such an amount. Like, I don't know if I could ever forgive him.
That he set thousands of cheated
He was a great guy, but
making
like, as soon as I saw this,
history, if not
just lost any respect.
He
I have like zero tolerance for cheaters. I'm not sure about you guys, but I don't know. I don't think anyone should cheat. I don't get the point of it.
He proved that in live competitions and by setting world records on his live stream. But the most competitive and precise maps he would conveniently grind off stream. From 2015 to 2021, Riolu was building a career as a Trackmania live streamer, and by the time the cheating came to light, he had become rather successful. But when the report was about to be published, he had to face the sobering reality that 10 years of bad decisions were catching up to him. Rather than owning up to it and taking accountability, Riolu crashed out in a now infamous livestream, where, for the duration of an hour, he gaslit his audience, denied ever having cheated,
the chat,
and called
I remember being there, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? I think it was like 5 AM, so I'm like, I didn't like register what was happening. And Riolu was like coming out and being like, nah, not me.
Parts of the investigation, a witch hunt.
So I'm like, okay, benefit of the doubt that it isn't you.
Backfired when the report came out, and people got to see the inputs for themselves. And it left many with an even worse impression that Riolu had continued to try to lie to the bitter end. Shortly after that stream, Riolu shut down his Discord server and presumably logged off all social media. It has now been almost 4 years since these events have happened, and Riolu hasn't been seen in Trackmania since. He never.
So the question is he going to be 92 Bob?
Took any accountability for the cheating?
Is he
never apologized?
Always played since.
Most players thought he had decided to leave Trackmania.
You guys know the answer because you watched it. I have not watched this, so let's find out.
Today, that is not the case. The reason I'm bringing all of this up is because the person that contacted me is Arcus, a leaderboard moderator for Trackmania Exchange, and Arcus had strong reasons to believe that Riolu was now playing under the name Eddie Rising. Trackmania Exchange hosts the main leaderboards used in Trackmania United Forever. This website stores millions of replay files of players' records dating all the way back to 2008. Replay files contain a great deal of information. As mentioned, they contain inputs, but they also tell you what in-game account any run was driven on. In Trackmania, game accounts are called logins. A login cannot be changed after an account is created, and has to be unique from all other players. Replay
My login on the old games, not good. It's like Nick underscore with a bunch of numbers.
files
Rock that
also store
06
information
username.
about the display name a player used. It tells you the name of the skin they used, and the flag or avatar that they have selected. There's more things too, but they aren't relevant for this video. Based on these identifiers, Arcus had legitimate reason to believe that Eddie Rising wasn't who he was claiming to be. And in November of 2024, he messaged Eddie on Discord with his findings, in a conversation we will take a look at later. The final communication between the two is that Arcus asked Eddie to record a voice message to prove his identity, to which Eddie answered he didn't appreciate being talked to in a condescending way, as if he was some sort of criminal. He said he would provide everything Arcus requested just to get this weird topic off the table, but shortly after sending these messages, he completely vanished, and Eddie hasn't been seen in the game or on Discord for the last 3 months. As he was one of the best Lagoon players, it was odd for him to just leave without any notice. In January of 2023, Eddie made his first appearance in the Trackmania community when he published his first YouTube video, a 7th place in the world on the official track Coast B1. Based on the aforementioned identifiers, we know this record was driven on the login Ponzor22. This track has over 30,000 players on the leaderboards, so setting a time in the top 10 is very respectable, especially for what seemed to be a brand new player. Over the next weeks, Eddie continued to post records in Trackmania United that went
First Trackmania gameplay 2 skull emoji. Skull emoji rip and Rooney. You know what's funny? This is like early Riolu.
mostly unnoticed, as the tracks
Ain't no way this is Riolu.
obscure.
Ain't no
But
way.
in April, he got inspired to play a different game, Trackmania 2 Lagoon, and his arrival.
Whoa,
on the
Rally
leaderboards
Sport
was
challenge though.
impossible to miss. On the 29th of April, all the best Lagoon players were quite literally shocked when Eddie, on his first day of playing the game, managed to achieve 8 top 10 records in the world. And not only that, the maps he drove were the first 15 you encountered.
Hey, that's a
and
YouTuber.
thus some of the most prestigious to hold the top records on. But Eddie made it seem effortless to climb as high as 2nd place out of 15,000 players on each track he hunted.
I mean, you can't go just from 0 to hero just without people wondering if something's up. Like, there's no shot that you're just like gonna be able to get a world record in such a small amount of time. Of course people are gonna investigate it.
Afternoon. A streak of records like this from an unknown player.
This is also especially after Riolu's now done his thing in 2020. So of course people are going to be even more curious because people are just not what's the word? They just have
completely unheard of. And top players felt it just cannot be possible to get this good this quickly, since they themselves had spent years getting to their skill level.
I guess portrayed after Riolu and like a bunch of others coming out as cheaters.
Eddie explained that he had some experience from playing Lagoon in Trackmania Turbo on console, and that the way he was able to achieve all the records was from rigorous practice beforehand. He said he would rebuild the map into several smaller sections to learn it more effectively, as well as comparing replays to analyze.
Now that's legit.
Saying he made very quick progress, as he just had to copy his muscle memory from practice maps to real ones. And evidently, this method worked because his runs were almost immediately the fastest in the world. He also live recorded all his runs and included footage of the gameplay sessions in his video, making it significantly harder to get away with cheating. The same day as the spree of records, Eddie joined several community servers on Discord, introducing himself to other players and attempting to put their doubts to rest. This is also where he shares the first details about himself and his life. Eddie says he lives in Kazakhstan, has a full-time job, and mentions having a wife and a baby boy on several occasions.
What if that's a true story of Riolu after he's left? He had the girlfriend for a couple years of streaming. and now they've actually got a baby. They actually
Over
moved
the
away.
summer of 2023, Eddie continued to set insane times.
You lie about everything else, but that story's legit.
In the game, Eddie at the time held the world records on 19 of them. He accomplished this without even unlocking all the tracks yet, which you do.
I mean, maybe he was so like traumatized by it that he just had to leave Germany to get out, because there were stories of people seeing him in like a shopping market and stuff, being like, oh, that's where he's working now. So maybe it's like a legit story.
By beating silver medal target times. These are ridiculously easy for someone driving at world record pace to unlock, but in 5 months of playing, he still hadn't unlocked them all. One time when asked why his display name looked so old school, Eddie explained that he had a background in playing Trackmania Nations Forever in 2010, and by checking the online database Trackmania, they could see that Ponzor22 indeed had online records all the way back in 2009. His back.
This is probably cope, but I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I saw a name with like, I mean, pwn was a bit of a thing back then. Like you pwned your opponents, but like I swear there was a name like that back in the day on. Because for those who don't know, I've played this game since 2006 or something. Too long, 2004 or something. So I was online at this kind of time. That being said, I didn't play much multi-environment.
His backstory checked out.
Classic 2010 COD. Yeah.
But to many players, something still seemed strange about him. Members of a Discord server that Eddie frequented said Eddie would often join their voice calls and watch other top players livestream their attempts, but he would personally never talk, always citing having his microphone muted in order to not disturb his wife. Over the next year, Eddie continued to grind Lagoon, and slowly but surely became a trusted member of the community. And in the summer of 2024, Eddie decided to return to Trackmania United Forever. In the description of a video he uploaded on the 25th of July, he writes that he didn't like his old login, so he bought a new account, and from this point forward, he stops playing on Ponzor22 and makes Eddie A his new main account. In November of 2024, Arcus is browsing Trackmania Exchange profiles and stumbles upon the fact that Eddie uses 2 different logins. There isn't anything inherently wrong with having 2 accounts, but it could be a sign of account sharing or someone else driving records for you. Arcus was curious and searched the database to see if these logins showed up anywhere else on the site.
I don't think I've ever really had a different account. I had one in Nations, but I think a lot of people had one for Nations back then. But it was mostly just for like the free zone and stuff when that came introduced. And then I just went back to playing on my main United account.
Site and 3 replays from Ponzor22 appeared.
Yeah, I don't know if I've
profile.
really ever had 2 accounts.
This profile hadn't been active since 2010. It had 4 records driven on the leaderboards, and 3 of them were driven on Ponzor22, making it seem likely that this indeed was Eddie's old.
How does it know that it's like linked? Did I miss something? Like, how does it know that it's...
The 4th and final replay uploaded to the leaderboards was driven on a different login. And not just any login, it was driven.
I was going to say, Accelerator is Riolu,
which happens to be the main account of Riolu.
Okay.
This discovery
interesting.
Is why Arcus eventually approached Eddie in Discord. When confronted about it,
oh yeah, he said at the start. Yeah.
22 in-game account was one he shared with a friend.
There's a lot to take in if you really want to like think about it. Yeah. So that's interesting how he noticed that.
And that he made Eddie A to have his own one. He says he never knew there was a TMX account with the same name, and whatever happened with it, he couldn't say. When asked why some replay files have the Germany flag when Eddie is from Kazakhstan, he says, "I can only guess it was one of the people I shared account with." And when asked who these friends or people are, he was unable to name any names. And as mentioned earlier, when asked to voice chat or to record a voice message, he didn't follow through. After this conversation, Eddie went inactive both on Discord and in-game, and hasn't been seen in the 3 months since. While it's weird to have a Riolu replay on a Trackmania Exchange profile linked to your in-game account, and to disappear just after being confronted about it, it's not enough to draw any conclusions from. And in order to find out
Correct.
who Eddie is, we would have to dig
Very
deeper.
sus,
In
but
December of 2024, Arcus messaged me with all of this information, and together with a team of players, we have tried to examine all the available evidence. Over the years, there have been many crazy theories about Riolu smurfing. Because of his swift disappearance, many found it hard to imagine he went from playing and live streaming the game every day to just immediately stopping. But all the theories
this has always been a thing. Like, people are like, oh, do you reckon that he still plays the game and whatever?
so far have been completely wrong. The players Hobbit and Postito Paco have had claims against them of being Riolu's smurf, since they rapidly improved at the game around the time he went inactive. But both have had clear alibis that prove they couldn't
say,
be
I'm pretty
Riolu.
sure that
There's also the controversial
legit, guys.
92Bob account in Trackmania United Forever, a mysterious player that started achieving world records in June of 2021, just weeks after the cheating was uncovered. This account went from
92 Bob mentioned. 92 Bob, the absolute goat.
to 165
Look how goated he is. Better than Raysans, Kripke.
million and achieving
Absolutely
rank 1 on the
washed players
leaderboards
below him.
in just half a year of playing. And the community deemed it impossible for an unknown player to achieve such a feat, and figured it had to be a Smurf account. 92Bob has been the most suspected Riolu Smurf account since the cheating scandal, but there's never been enough evidence to conclusively prove who it belongs to. In this video, I intend to leave no room for doubt, not just about who is behind the Eddie Rising account, but also 92Bob. As with what we have discovered, we believe we have solved both mysteries.
Good.
So
Drop it.
let's start with the
Let
replays
them
on Trackmania
look at it again.
Exchange. When Riolu drove the run uploaded to
Oh my
Ponzo's
god.
profile,
A gift sub to 92 Bob. Fantastic. I never get gift subs, so that's a fantastic gift sub to have got.
he was
Thank you,
going for rank
Anonymous.
1 in Trackmania United Forever. And in order
What if 92 Bob was like, Riolu still watched Trackmania, and then like, that was actually his old account? Because he was, how many months did he sub to me? User Riolu. Is it just Riolu or was it TM? Oh, I'm logged out because of
to achieve
Twitch.
that, you must obtain a lot of one
He did-
particular resource.
I did talk to him quite a
and
lot
that
back in
is
the day.
coppers. The copper system is an antique part of Trackmania and not present in newer games.
Anyway, that's all
Back in
irrelevant.
the day,
Back to the video.
compete on the in-game leaderboards, you had to pay 10 coppers per attempt in official mode. It is not possible to purchase coppers from Nadeo, but you receive 50 coppers for logging in.
I have so many coppers on my account. Looking to sell my account to a different user, definitely not to get it better on the leaderboard, just for people to use coppers.
in each day, and you get 30 coppers each time you beat the gold medal on a track in official mode. This alone is hardly enough to sustain thousands of attempts at getting the best records, and many players don't bother with the in-game leaderboards for this reason. But for the players going for rank 1 in-game, it was essential to have a big bankroll of coppers to fund their grinding sessions, and farming copper competitions.
I think they
would have been
changed
a
it to
very
like be
important
way
thing
lower now,
for
didn't they?
this reason. The track where we found our Riolu replay on the Ponzor account just so happens to be one where the prize pool for the best times was 36,000
Accelerator, the goat.
coppers. We decided
it's only
to
one
scan
now.
all of Trackmania
It's
Exchange
so much
for
cheaper.
users that had Accelerator 01 replays uploaded, and we ended up finding 2 more profiles. One of them was Cyrox, which had a Riolu replay on the same track as Ponzor, uploaded within minutes of Ponzor and Riolu's main profile on the very same day.
Yeah, interesting.
In total, Riolu received 8,000 coppers from this one competition. The run on Xerox's profile had also been driven with Riolu's display name at the time, and then been modified.
So I can already see the story. You make multiple accounts so you can gain coppers, and then you can use those coppers on that main account. I see.
Before it was
It
uploaded.
makes sense already.
There's also one other record on the Cyrox profile, and that one is driven on the login Hot Racer. This is also the login that Cyrox wants the coppers paid out to. Doing a lookup on the account Hot Racer shows that its current display name is Cyro, and downloading all the available replays from the in-game leaderboards shows it has used the nickname Camip as well. This closely matches the 4th and final TMX profile that has Riolu replays on it, a Yonex. Interestingly, we find that several of the thumbnails on maps uploaded by this user has the signature Cyro written on them. This user has 15 replays uploaded, and 13 of them are driven on the login xsamir. One is on the login crashzor, and the final replay is racer01. In the 13 replays driven on xsamir, the nickname Cyro is used 10 times, and Camip is used twice as well, closely linking xsamir and Hot Racer together. We also realized we were on the right track when we found a cheated run on the xsamir account, uploaded in May of 2011 to the track 3 Strange Days. This run was likely driven in slow motion and displays the same jittery inputs that can be seen in Riolu's runs from the cheating report.
So much investigating.
The account went inactive in 2011 and remained that way for many years, until in 2017 it reappeared in a competition called the True Talent Cup. In an old video of this competition from Trackmania streamer Spammy, we can see that xsamir, or Absol as the display name, is competing, and setting times so impressive that others in the voice call are surprised.
Dude, Absol, who the hell is this guy? I have no idea who is that guy.
Since Riolu was considered the best United player in the world at the time, many had high expectations to see him compete, but unfortunately he showed up too late to compete, and was only able to watch Spam's stream. Riolu appeared in Spam's Twitch chat just after the mentions of Absol, and then continued to chat throughout the entire tournament. But if you pay attention to when he sends the messages, it is only between competition rounds. Because as we now know, he was the one playing as Absol undercover in this tournament. In 2018, the xsamir account would take on a new identity, and we would officially get it confirmed that this account used to belong to Riolu, because that is also when Riolu gave this account to his friend Lars, so Lars could participate in other Trackmania United competitions.
Whoa, Lars confirmed account using count sharing?
Also cheated more than the one
absolutely
we discovered on this account, because when Nadeo scanned the leaderboards for cheated runs in July of 2021, xsamir was detected to have 19 cheated runs, resulting in the account getting banned. If you now try to enter the login details Lars was given, you will be presented with this notice. With xsamir confirmed to be Riolu's account, it likely confirms Hot Racer by proxy, as it has had the same display name multiple times. But now let's take a look at crashzor, the third login seen on the profile Ionex. And see where
I hadn't heard of crashzor.
The metastats for this login showed it was driving in the same zone as Riolu, in Dortmund, Germany. And a Google search of the display name Leandagu reveals that in 2015, someone suspected an account with the same name of cheating in Trackmania 2.
MadMat01. I think that was a Mad... I swear it was like a Mad Matt in Australia.
These threads are the only time Riolu used the Dadimania forums, and he used them to defend the legitimacy of crashzor or Leandagu's runs. crashzor also ended up banned in Trackmania United forever when the records were purged,
25%.
having 16 cheated records in official mode.
Ah, goodness me.
Interestingly, by analyzing surviving records from this account in Canyon, we can determine that it cheated with Cheat Engine, as the inputs are clearly inhuman there as well. crashzor also had a few online records that survived the purge, and perhaps most interesting is that the account goes inactive for around 3 years, from November 2016 until the 17th of April 2020. It then returns to play a few rounds online on the server Alpina Public, and by some miracle, only 2 hours after crashzor's return to the game, Riolu decides to play on the same server on his livestream, after half a year of online inactivity on his main Trackmania United account. The final account we discovered is Buzzkill22. Not only does this login have the same name suffix as Ponzor, but it also exists on the Dortmund leaderboards, and by downloading the replays from the account, we can see it uses the very same nickname as Eddie, strongly indicating that these accounts are owned by the same person. Both of the accounts also have slow motion runs on them, though they are insignificant.
How'd you even like keep up with this many accounts? I have like a game or so that I might have 2 accounts on, which like you kind of have like idle and stuff and you progress. And it's hard enough to keep up with 2 accounts. How do you just keep up with like 17 accounts?
Every profile on Trackmania Exchange that has
Accelerator, Xerox, Hot Racer, Ponzor, Eddie, Buzzkill,
So Riolu replay uploaded links back to him in clear patterns. Rather than being a very long list of coincidences, we see it most likely that all these logins belong to Riolu. It might seem bizarre to have this many accounts.
Also, if you're gonna try so hard to like not show that you're a cheater, like you're trying very hard to
that all these logins
like you're using a lot of effort.
It might seem bizarre to have
so many accounts
in the game, as you would hardly find
I
time
don't know.
to play
I
all
can't
of them.
fathom this.
But once you see it through the lens of copper farming, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, back to the copper farming. Yeah, fair. And that's what I was talking about, how you get like, if you have like an old account for these kind of games, you can like maybe use resources and give it. Here we go. Here we go.
It can net you over 12,000 coppers, as well as increasing your daily
Yes,
gains by
like
50.
I said earlier.
Another strategy used by players is to buy a previously owned account. These can often be found for cheaper on eBay and could have a treasure trove of unused coppers.
5 to 20 euro. It was always a jackpot with coppers. Man, does that mean I can sell mine for 40 euro because I have 150k? Alright, taking the best deal in chat. Who wants my account?
Who is notorious for having around 50 accounts in Trackmania United Forever.
50? 50, bro.
And has managed to accrue
Taking
over
the piss.
3 million coppers this way. Anyway, if these other logins belong to Riolu over the years, then it is very likely
these cheaters.
that Ponzor22
I don't get it.
now does as well. But let's remember that a lot can happen in 14 years. In the same way that Riolu gave the Examir account to Lars, Lars could have passed that account on to someone else. And though Riolu matches the profile of knowledge and skill needed to be Fake Eddie, it is still technically possible that someone else could have gotten this account. The most satisfying answer to a mystery is one that leaves no room for doubt or speculation. And in order to achieve that, we have to analyze more replays.
The numbers, basically. What do they mean?
In the next phase of the investigation, we scanned all available replays on the official in-game ladder.
Good.
To do this, we got the help of Trackmania genius Tomashu.
After
downloading all replays from logins related to Riolu, Tomashu crucially realized that records driven in official mode actually have a date and timestamp of when they were registered on Nadeo servers. Something that nobody in the community knew up until then.
Yeah, that's nice.
Another important detail is that if a player had downloaded the competitive patch, information about which specific input device they used would be saved in the replay file. This was commonplace knowledge, but it was previously thought that once a record is submitted to Nadeo servers, this information would no longer be written into the replay file.
That's the most Nadeo thing ever. You have all this like back access, and then as soon as it gives it to Nadeo, because the game's such a mess that you just lose all that info. Thanks, Nadeo.
It's actually still there.
I love it.
These two data points could be used to identify patterns between several logins, and since nobody knew this information existed, they never thought to shield
amount of new
themselves
info
against
people
it.
keep finding is insane. Yeah, I mean, this game is so complex that like Nadeo obviously don't know what they've done anymore. So if people are happy to invest, I guess like it's eventually going to be found. I don't know.
In the investigation was if Riolu is Fake Eddie,
United had big security.
Is 92 Bob. It seemed unlikely that Riolu
would 92 Bob. Here we go.
On several accounts at the same time, but the timeline of known activity from 92 Bob and Fake Eddie lined up surprisingly well. 92 Bob first appears just after the cheating scandal and remains active from June 2021 until December 2022. At that point, the account had reached 200 million points and stopped playing. Shortly after, in January of 2023, Fake Eddie posts his first YouTube video and proceeds to stay active until October 2024, where he drove his last known record in Trackmania Lagoon. And 1 week later, 92 Bob returned to Trackmania United Forever. Though the investigation was originally focused on Eddie, these new data points made us take a much closer look at 92 Bob as well. When we compared the timestamps of activity between the logins we knew Eddie had access to and 92 Bob, an unbelievable pattern emerged.
Nothing's
It
unbelievable.
starts on the 25th of September 2021, when Buzzkill becomes active again after almost 10 years of inactivity, and
What is it, 1 week? Yeah, 1 week.
rapidly
Not even
started
like
setting
cooldown.
records. When looking at how much time
Goes back to his shopping mall shopping job, and then he's like, oh yeah, I have the weekend again to play Trackmania, let's go
passes
back on
between
the
each
account.
record, it's sometimes as little as only 30 seconds, making it clear that the player could only be doing one thing: farming coppers by beating gold medals. And shortly after this streak of records from
Wait, how much coppers do you get for the golds? Is it like 100 and stuff? Man,
concludes,
this is like an
92
illegal
Bob
casino.
sets a new personal best.
But is there any rules against it?
October, the same thing happens. On the 31st of October, the same thing happens. Shortly after these personal bests from Bob, the Ponzer 22 account becomes active again.
12k
as
for the
well,
campaign.
and farms
Wow.
coppers in the same way for 3 hours. And after the harvest, Bob again sets a new personal best. This pattern of the stolen Eddie accounts farming coppers
No, I don't
and
see a
Bob
pattern,
setting a new
Virtual.
PB can be seen again and again throughout the end of 2021. In 2022, the pattern continues, only that now 92 Bob and the Eddie accounts have started using the competitive patch, which contains data
Ooh.
about the input device used. And wouldn't you know
Must
it,
be legit
they
players then.
also use the same controller. The way this data is saved is by looking at the vendor.
Oh, the controller isn't even like 146B is like an Xbox. So like literally my controller has like a different number to this. Oh shit.
ID
I thought this was just like
ID
Xbox
of the
and then
USB
or
devices connected
PlayStation.
to the game. When looking up the vendor ID that appears in Eddie
God
and
damn.
92 Bob's replays, it shows he's using a controller from Big Ben Interactive Limited. Looking at the Wikipedia page of this company shows that Big Ben has rebranded to Nakon. On the 8th of March 2021, Riolu posted about receiving the asymmetric wireless controller on Twitter, as Nakon were one of the main sponsors of his esport organization.
They were.
To figure out if this was the controller with the same product ID as we see in 92 Bob and Fake Eddie's replays, I decided to purchase one, making sure to get one with the same packaging. I plugged it in and drove a replay, and wouldn't you know it, it has the same product ID. Vendor
Okay, so it
146B,
is product.
Product 609.
Because I would have been like,
Both
holy
logins were using
moly.
a standard Xbox or PS5 controller, it would be easy to write this off as a coincidence. But Nakon is a rather niche brand, and seeing both these logins driving the same map, same day, 10 minutes apart with the same controller.
I mean, I'd argue that it's not that niche in terms of a lot of people like ask streamers and stuff like, what controller should I get? What controller should I use or whatever. I don't think that's like enough of a legit thing, but obviously when you condense lists, like, it's a bit ridiculous.
Controller is very suspect. When looking at the timestamps, we also assumed that when there were gaps in the data, Bob was likely farming coppers via other accounts, and we came up with a smart way of identifying them. You see, there is one more way of gaining coppers in Trackmania United Forever, and that is by logging in to the Mania Zone forums once a week. This gives you a bonus of 100
Ain't no way. I could have been a millionaire if I knew this.
coppers. Since the profile page of each player has a timestamp for when they register on the forums and when their last sign-in was, we came up with the idea to look for registration.
I wish I knew this back in the day as well. I would have had like 250,000 coppers, not 150,000 coppers right now. That's like that's another like illegal casino right here.
And recent sign-ins that match Bob and Fake Eddie.
Except that I guess that one's not illegal because that's their forum.
Imposter made this work rather easy for us, as he decided to register most of the accounts minutes apart on the same day. On the 17th of August 2024, we see the Eddie accounts Ponzor and Buzzkill register on the site, preceded and followed by a horde of accounts in the same 5 minutes.
Daniel Licorti. Crufix72. Bob mentioned again.
Keep in mind that activity on these forums is completely dead.
123
and I want to be
mentioned.
exceptionally clear that a series of logins and last active timestamps matching this closely
Yes, every week, same time, same place.
several weeks in a row doesn't happen by accident. The imposter was a bit more careful with 92 Bob, as that account doesn't register on the forums till the 10th of October.
Ah.
Bob's recent sign-ins
Have your phone alarm set to be like, alright, Thursday at 10 o'clock, that's when I'll do the 92 Bob account compared to all the rest, which no one else is going to find. Yep.
exactly with
Nice.
some of the accounts spotted earlier. We now had a list of 15 accounts, all logging in at the same time on the forums to collect coppers and using the same controller that we know Riolu has. If having one identical controller wasn't rare enough, Fake Eddie and 92 Bob and 2 other copper smurfs can be seen with 2 matching controllers connected. The Nakon controller and an Xbox 360 controller, both plugged into the PC when their records were set.
Weekly meetup.
Bob, Joe Urch, and Ludosflood did this a few hours apart, whereas the Fake Eddie ones with this combination happened a few months earlier. Another strange account on this new list was Graphics72, since this is an account that Techno had told me earlier used to belong to him. I decided to contact Techno about it, and interestingly, Techno said he at one point gave the password of Graphics72 to Riolu in order to surf online together, and when he tried to connect to it now, he no longer had access to it. Logging in just one time on someone's account in Trackmania United Forever is enough to be able to hijack it, as you can change the email address on the profile page, and then request a new password sent to your new email address without any 2-factor confirmation from the old email.
Big security.
Techno was able to confirm through his backups that he had the password to Graphics72 until early 2020 at least, but it had been changed between then and now. But apart from just using these accounts to farm coppers, another pattern that emerged is that these accounts would all routinely flood specific leaderboards with records. Sometimes
there was a time where I think that's still a thing on most of the stunt ones. It is like there's like a God is my something account, and there was like 50 of those names. It annoyed the shit out of me when I was trying to get onto the stunt leaderboard. Can we investigate that? I don't care about this Riolu drum. I care about the stunt leaderboard. Jesus saves you. Yes, that's the name. There was so many of them.
Doing this completely ruins the competition.
Where's that investigation?
And it got
I have a feeling it might have been investigated, but I can't remember the result. But
several people in the community to wonder who was doing all of this. Many wrongly assumed at the time that...
Can you cheat engine stunt mode? I guess you probably could. Because I feel like the stunt ones are probably legit, but like it's still annoying seeing that many accounts. So
these accounts belong to
it's not as bad, but
a notorious troll in Trackmania United. BlackU said he had no knowledge of these accounts, and BlackU is confirmed not to be 92 Bob. He did, however, pretend to be 92 Bob at one point as an attempt at getting a Nadeo employee to delete all of 92 Bob's records, but he was unable to show he had ownership of the account, and thus nothing happened to Bob.
I mean, respect Nadeo employee, because I'm not gonna lie, this was pretty stupid. I mean, stupid number one, but like...
But he was unable to show he had ownership of the account, and thus nothing happened to Bob.
You shouldn't really be
this story is corroborated
faking
from
being
Nadeo
someone.
Employee. After much frustration with Bob being anonymous, he also notoriously and reprehensibly tried to figure out 92 Bob's location by sending him an IP address grabber, disguised as a
this was in his other
via
video,
the
Wirtual.
in-game mail system.
And I was never a fan of this part of the video. I'm like, this is just weird as.
Bob never
I
clicked
don't
on the link.
like it.
This action was a stretch too far and has been shunned by the entire community.
I love how much Wirtual praises. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's probably needed because you need to like cover all bases, but I just never been a fan of this part.
Stretch too far and has been shunned by the entire community, but it also serves as great proof that BlackU isn't Bob. Someone so hell-bent on figuring out Bob's identity...
simplynick with a stunt world record? Nah, I suck at stunt.
Before you get your tinfoil hat on,
I enjoy
analysis
it,
of BlackU's replays has also shown he uses a different controller. He has live-streamed himself playing at the same time as Bob has achieved records, and he doesn't have any link to any of the copper farming accounts. So, no.
Oh, what a shame.
Accounts that have been flooding the leaderboards, the strangest of them is General Cool. On the
Twitch has infected my brain. I read this literally as a mega lol. Help me, please. My brain is just infected by
12th of
Twitch.
January 2022,
Help
this
me,
account
guys.
started playing official mode, both farming coppers and also setting very strong times on select tracks.
Oh dear.
Once you set a record in the top 10, your display name
See, this is why you're never going to see me cheat, because I'm just too stupid to cheat. I don't think I'm even going to...
in-game is shown
I'm too
to
dumb.
everyone. The inexplicable thing about General Cool is that the display name this account was using was the full real name of the player Misu, and whoever was doing this was essentially doxing him for no apparent reason.
Yeah, that's a bit weird, champ.
Misu's real name was not known in the community, only by his closest friends that he had added on Facebook, and he couldn't understand why any of them would do something like this. Other players were also lost for reasons why anyone would do this. At the time, it was wrongly assumed that the player behind these accounts was, again, BlackQ, since he would often try to troll Mizu. And for a period, BlackQ did things like driving records with an exact copy of Misu's in-game display name, causing a lot of confusion. So it wasn't unthinkable that General Cool could be him. But in April of 2022, BlackQ felt sorry for trolling the community, and requested that Nadeo delete all the records on the accounts he owned. Nadeo followed through and deleted all the records from several logins, like the logins Nevria, Bella Machina, and Fraser. But the General Cool account was never purged. In 2023, when BlackQ was asked why he never requested General Cool's removal, BlackQ said it was because the
It's
account
not
wasn't
me.
his. Misu says, "Who else would dox me on this random map?" To which BlackQ responds, "I have my limits, dude. Trolling, sure, but not doxing and shit." And in this instance, we actually know it wasn't BlackQ. The evidence points to that whoever is behind the fake Eddie accounts, Buzzkill22 and Ponzor22, is likely the one who doxed Mizu. On the 3rd of April 2022, the General Cool account can be seen in a cluster playing the exact same map as Buzzkill22 and the other copper farming accounts.
What if they're just
Only
friends
minutes apart on the same
that are really good at the game?
The same thing also happened 1 month earlier, in March of 2022 on the track Coast C4. Here General Cool is playing in the same cluster as Ponzor22, where all of the accounts set records minutes apart from one another. This incident is before any of the accounts used the competitive patch, so we do not have any controller data for that streak. But the same thing happens 2 years later, in September of 2024, when General Cool, together with Buzzkill and many of the other copper farming accounts, drive one run after another on AO8 Endurance, again on the same knock-on controller. General Cool's first registration on the Mania Zone forums happens 4 minutes and 5 seconds after Ponzor, and 2 minutes and 56 seconds after Buzzkill. And his most recent sign-in at the time of making this video happens on the 30th of January, which is 1 minute and 36 seconds after Buzzkill22's most recent sign-in. On the 30th of January, we also see several other accounts.
What were you doing on
within the same
January
5
at the
minutes.
start of this year?
And especially of note are the accounts Ludoslud, Christian Close,
Why cheat for 10 years when you can cheat for 15?
and Graphics. For Graphics and Christian Closa, their sign-up dates matched within minutes of Bonsor,
Oh
Buzzkill,
dear.
and the lot, and their last active timestamp matched within minutes of 92 Bob on the 5th of January. As mentioned earlier, Techno doesn't have access to the Graphics account anymore, and when asked about this specific forum sign-in, he said it wasn't him. To try to claim that all these things are a coincidence would be foolish. We can, based on all these factors, conclude that the person who is behind the fake Eddie account and the 92 Bob account
Is a guy
is
just
the
called
same
Eddie.
person who is currently in possession of the General Cool account now. Most strongly evidenced by these accounts playing minutes apart on the same controller in April of 2022. When it comes to establishing exactly who was using the account to dox Mizu in January of 2022, I cannot say for sure, especially since doxing is considered a crime.
Nah, close off the video.
And I don't want to
No
open
evidence
myself
there.
up to a defamation
Unfinished
lawsuit.
video. Try
That
again.
being said, if we were to entertain a scenario, what hypothetical reasons could Riolu have to dox Mizu? Well, shortly after the cheating scandal in 2021, Mizu changed his profile picture on Twitter to a picture of Riolu, and has kept that as his profile picture ever since. On the 30th of
When I was
July
looking up the
2021,
anonymous who gifted a sub to 92 Bob, that also has a Riolu icon, but it has a blurred out face. What does that mean? It must mean it's not Riolu if it's
he
blurred out.
posted what, at a glance,
If this is
could look like
Riolu
a
with the
twitch-longer
face.
apology from Riolu in order to troll the community. And in December of 2021, only weeks before the doxing happened, Misu also posted on Twitter expressing a dislike for Riolu. But that's just one.
I did see one spoiler. I did see that there's a new emote going around on Twitch, which has a Riolu icon.
Sure. Luckily, Nadeo has greater tools available.
And I presume that's
they should
coming
be
up
able
in
to
the
figure
video.
out who the doxer is by checking the hardware ID of the account. Hardware IDs are like the serial numbers of your computer, and uniquely
Riolu
identifies
gifting
your
himself a
exact
sub.
computer to the game. The doxer, without a doubt, has other active accounts in the community, since nobody joins a game and is casually able to drive top 10 times, while at the same time randomly deciding to dox a community member. By matching General Cool's hardware ID at the time against other accounts, Nadeo should be able to conclusively prove who the doxer is. And I hope they take this as seriously as it should be taken, as this relates to every Trackmania player's online safety. That strange incident aside, the final piece of information we could gather from these new accounts was the car skins they used. All replays in Trackmania contain the file name of the car skin that was used in the record. Even if the skin might not load for you, it is still saved as a name in the replay file. Digging deep into the archives, we found a Twitch stream from Riolu where he is playing Trackmania United Forever.
I don't know why I don't have the chat overlay on my screen. I noticed this earlier.
Car skins. From the skins that can be seen, many are default
A lot's
ones.
broken on my stream.
Others are very popular ones that can be downloaded on a website called Mania Park.
But did Riolu finish a khaki map with the Titanic car and the Golden Gate Bridge? I don't think so.
But he also has some very rare skins.
That's all I've got to say.
Skins that there are no publicly known downloads for. We wrote down the names of all the visible skins from that stream and then compared them to the...
For those who don't know, I finished a khaki map with both a Golden Gate Bridge, yes, like a legit Golden Gate Bridge, and a legit Titanic ship. Those were great clips. But yeah, there were so many goated skins back in the day. I wish that was in the new game. I wasn't really paying attention to if like there was anything special here, but
are very popular ones.
there was the Cadillac or something in this clip, whatever car that is.
That can be downloaded on a website called Mania Park. But he also has some very rare skins.
There you go.
Skins that there are no publicly known downloads for. We wrote down the names of all the visible skins from that stream and then compared them to the file names we can see in the replays. On 92 Bob, he is exceptionally careful to only drive with skins that are available by default. But on the Smurf account, he is far more careless and are available by default. But on the Smurf account, he is far more
A12XD_V2, not even the first version.
more careless and uses
Japan. Original default.
many of the
These
very
are nice
same
skins.
skins we saw Riolu had locally downloaded. For example, Ludoslud, the account with the same forum sign and timestamp as 92 Bob, used the skin Bay Technoface. When asking Techno about this, he said he created the skin in 2011 and shared them with a couple of friends at the time.
That's such 2011
this is a skin
time.
Riolu had in 2020, but there has not been a public available download for it in well over a decade. The other most interesting find is the 1 Alpine car skins. The special thing about these is that they were initially created for a snow car mod in Trackmania 2. After Riolu played this mod and liked the skins,
So that's the emote.
he personally requested Florentius,
What a,
the skin creator, to make them compatible
what a message.
with Trackmania United Forever. Florentius never shared the skins with anyone else, so the only way
I
someone else
also
that
go
Riolu could
around
have
to
gotten
stream
them
saying
is if
PP
Riolu sent
hard.
the link to them. 6 out of the copper farming accounts we discovered are using these 1 Alpine skins. It is of course very curious that during the time General Cool was actively doxing Mizu, he was setting some records with the 1 Alpine Rainbolt skin. But there's one final detail we discovered that completely seals the case beyond any and all doubt.
One more.
And it is the fact that Eddie Rising is a real person. You see, when we took a closer look at the Buzzkill22 account, we
What, did he think Riolu was an AI or something?
discovered another login closely related
AI before all those YouTubes that have been popping off with the AI versus Trackmania.
to it, Gabriel996. This account built several tracks together with Buskill and
The Bob. Nice.
uploaded them to a Trackmania exchange.
I like it.
The email address registered on this Trackmania exchange profile crucially had Gabriel's full name written. With this information, I contacted Gabriel on social media, and via his friends list, I found the actual Eddie Rising. I sent them both a shot in the dark message, and to my surprise, both answered. Up until this point, it had been assumed that Eddie Rising was a completely fabricated identity, but after my first few messages with him, it became clear that the reality was much more disturbing. Real Eddie's English isn't the best, but he said his in-game name in Trackmania used to be Ponzor, and confirmed it was his account after seeing a screenshot with the colors. I asked him what he knew about Accelerator01, Riolu's Trackmania account that drove a run uploaded to his profile, and to my disbelief, he said he's known Riolu since they were kids. Eddie said they hadn't spoken much after he quit Trackmania around 2010, but that back in the day, him and Riolu used to do parkour together daily, and when the weather was bad, they would talk on walkie-talkies and play games together. He said Riolu is the one who introduced him to Trackmania and they built several maps together. He said it was possible Riolu had driven some of the runs on his account and called one of the runs shown to him too good to have been driven by himself. Most importantly, Eddie confirmed that Eddie A was not him, meaning that whoever was using his account and his name now was impersonating him, without Eddie's knowledge or consent. The real Eddie did claim ownership of Ponzor22 and Buskill22, and Gabriel could corroborate this in my conversation with him. Gabriel said Eddie was one of his school friends. He said he had played Trackmania in real life with Riolu as well, but that he hadn't seen him for about 15 years. Gabriel said that him and Eddie both at one point logged into Riolu's PC, and that, quote, "We definitely drove time races because Riolu was very good and could help us." Gabriel also said Eddie and Riolu used to be neighbors, and elaborated on having times driven for him, and thus giving Riolu access to the accounts.
Okay, that's a lot to take in. So it's going down to he is impersonating his old neighbor?
This discovery
what
was
I'm
truly
taking
shocking
after.
to me. With this, the entire Eddie Rising entity in Trackmania can conclusively be called fake.
Oh, I don't even know.
Something that we already suspected, but not in a million years did I expect it to be based
It's just so
on the
ridiculous
identity
that
of a real
I'm just
person,
lost.
and much less a childhood friend
That's
of
about all.
Riolu, who Riolu introduced to Trackmania. After analyzing all available data from all of these different sources, the cold hard evidence all points in one direction. It is no coincidence that all of these logins use the same niche controller Riolu was given by a sponsor. It is no coincidence that the timestamps of records driven by these accounts match up so closely, that the Mania Zone registration date and last active dates between them match up perfectly, and that many of the accounts use the same rare skins as we see on Riolu's PC. And when combined with the fact that whoever is behind the fake Eddie account must know certain things about the real Eddie, and that it just so happens that the real Eddie and Riolu were childhood friends playing Trackmania together, that it just so happens that the real Eddie has logged into his Trackmania accounts on Riolu's computer, and the fact that whoever is fake Eddie and 92Bob must 1. Be a world-class player, but 2. Have some reason to play anonymously, we believe all in all exhaustively proves beyond any reasonable doubt.
Oh no, I want more.
The person
I
behind
want
fake
more.
Eddie,
I am
92Bob,
not
and all the
convinced.
following accounts is Riolu.
So when so Wirtual released a video like a little bit after the first drama of it, I think. And it was like this video to me it kind of looked like him being a bit salty about Riolu cheating, which is fine, like all of what Riolu's done. But like after the video I'm like, I don't think this is that good of a video. I feel like it's just not really giving anyone any information. But this one is like way more particular, gives you the evidence, it shows like what's
I'm
happened.
sorry
like,
if you feel it has taken way too long in this video for me to say that, but I didn't want to leave any room for doubt and to leave any stone unturned. I thought it's
like, I think this is such a better way to have approached it if you are gonna let's use the title of the video, expose the con. So as I said earlier, like I don't really give a shit about giving any light to drama and to giving light to all these low ends that want to cheat and ruin other people's experience. But like, it is fair enough if you can put the time in to investigate and want to
better
put the
present all
information
the available
precisely
evidence
together.
rather than jumping to that conclusion prematurely. I would urge Nadeo to verify these findings by themselves by checking and identifying information I do not have access to, such as the hardware ID of these accounts. But I suspect that Nadeo already knows most of these things. They at least know the identity of 92Bob since late 2021, and have chosen not to share it with the
I found out 98% conclusively who Bob92 is. I can't share information with you. All I can say is it shouldn't be a big deal. Let the person play as a legit player. Knowing who it is, it doesn't frustrate people too much. Well, now you know someone goodbye. I feel like that's got to be a Phoebe message.
community,
But
only stating
don't
that
quote
since
me.
92Bob's records are legit.
I feel like that's not a very professional way to talk as an employee. But I'm not sure if all, like, I presume this is Discord, if like they have their own, like you see on Twitter, like people who have their own account who are employed by someone that say my opinions are my own. So I'm not gonna really say much, and I've kind of been spoiled in chat saying there's more spice to come considering the video is 10 minutes long, so let's continue.
Allow him to compete on the leaderboards. The earliest 92Bob records we have documented were driven in June of 2021, only 1 month after Riolu was exposed for cheating. My main goal with making this video has been to present
Yeah,
all
this was the
information
video.
we
I think
discovered
this was the
to
video I was talking
community.
about.
But while
Can't
doing
remember
so, I also want to interject my own opinion here.
Too
I
long ago.
personally think allowing Riolu to immediately return to competing after 10 years of cheating with no suspension is disgraceful.
I agree. And I think that's why he's always been a bit salty about it, from my opinion, looking at how he's presented it. And I mean, it's fair enough to be salty about it. If, like, as I've said multiple times, there's just no fucking room for there to be any cheating. Cheating is just stupid and unacceptable,
Especially to
in
all the
my
Trackmania
opinion.
players that have put great effort and pride towards their legitimate accomplishments. I don't necessarily think Riolu has to receive a permanent ban, but giving no punishment at all apart from having to create a new account really makes it seem like they don't
does seem
care
a bit
for the
stupid.
leaderboards. Especially when he cheated on a scale that affected every leaderboard in every major.
And that's what I said at the start as well. I'm like, I think a lot of these people have only come in with TM 2020. I have experienced it since the very beginning, pretty much. And I've seen a lot of progression in the game. And it's just unacceptable if someone's going to cheat for that long.
Trackmania game.
Like,
in the
it's
last
just
18
disgusting in
years.
my opinion.
It's been close to 4 years since the cheating scandal, and not once in those 1300 days has he taken just 1 day to apologize. Instead of taking the time to make one apology video, he has found the time to make 65 Trackmania videos.
65. I mean, he still has passion for content creation. He just has the passion the
on
wrong
Fake
way.
Eddie YouTube account. And instead of writing one apology to the community, he has written hundreds of YouTube comments.
Ain't no way they made an Excel document with all these comments. Holy Jesus, that improvement. New player question mark. Smart boy indeed.
On the Fake Eddie YouTube account, while also infiltrating communities on Trackmania United and in Trackmania Lagoon under a new name. Before we go on, I want to make it clear that the actual investigation part of the video is finished. The next portion is merely an opportunity I'm going to use to talk about the toxicity that is plaguing Trackmania. When trying to figure out if Riolu was
let's
driving
see
on the Eddie account,
what this has
we
to
looked
say.
at all the comments written by Fake Eddie on YouTube, and it has led to some peculiar findings. Through this process, we noticed 5 other accounts that would write comments on the same Trackmania videos as Eddie, sometimes only minutes apart. Videos on niche channels that only receive a couple of hundred views per video. These accounts
It would be a Riolu thing to try and look at what's the newest uploaded
sometimes only minutes
Nadeo world
apart.
record.
Videos
I think Aona has one or a few of these channels, and like he would make sure to know what is newly
on niche
uploaded.
channels that only receive a
Has to
couple
beat
hundred
it
views per video.
on his 16
These
accounts.
all interact in the same threads, they use the same language, they have a strong dislike for the same players, and they reply to comments on old Riolu videos, shutting down people who mock his cheated records.
That's a bit of a weird one.
They have a videos,
Like,
shutting down people.
who's gonna go back? Well, I've said my opinion on it, so maybe people go and watch old videos.
And
but
they
like,
reply to
I ain't gonna fucking comment on old Riolu's videos, in my opinion. And there's a few that I was slightly involved in. Like, I had like a couple a day. I had like one where I was in the thumbnail and stuff,
on old Riolu videos,
or a skin in the
shutting
thumbnail.
down people who mock his.
So I was like slightly close to Riolu, but not really. But yeah, like I just lost any. I don't know what the word is, but after it was shown that like all the proof, I'm just like, I don't want to look at it.
Swag,
so of course, like,
and a username I'll only be pronouncing as urine.
It's so weird.
Over
I don't know.
1,000 total comments on Trackmania.
Because it's coming from me, where I want to reply to everyone who's commented on my channel. Like, but I'm not a cheater, and I'm still active. You can come to me directly if you want. This guy's hiding behind a name.
Videos in the last 4 years, and it is far too much data to analyze every comment here. Nor is it the actual point of this video, but I'll share some short details about each account and how they link back to the imposter. Starting with Cyro, I mentioned a very similar username earlier on in the video, in the spiderweb of accounts associated
Is he gonna have a comment of Cyrox, Hot Racer, Eddie, Ponzo?
with Riolu. On the following YouTube channels, Cyro has written 5 comments, and 3 of them are within 1 minute of fake Eddie commenting on the same channel. One of them in particular is a rather depressing comment, and as you'll see later,
Yikes.
this is unfortunately a pattern.
Let's not
Cyro
put
can
light
also
to
be
that.
seen as a user in Trackmania Discord servers, where he most actively discusses 92Bob and Nico. As a last anecdote, when I asked Nico if he knew anything about the Cyro98 account, he told me he used to suspect that it's Bob. Nico would often stream himself grinding tracks in Discord, and Cyro would watch, muted in the voice call. Anytime Nico set a world record, Bob would contest him quickly afterwards. But
So is this guy gonna have 15 YouTube channels, 15 Trackmania channels, 15 Discord accounts?
as Nico says, perhaps it's just a coincidence. Next up is Slobodan.
This is why I don't go into drama. This is ridiculous.
And said he'd repeatedly been sent hateful comments by them. And from what I've seen, this account is one of the most toxic in the entire community. Normally, I wouldn't bother wasting my own energy or yours on an anonymous hate account like this. But since it is specifically Slobodan Medada who wrote the comment I showed at the beginning, telling me to use my platform to expose toxicity, I figure it is warranted to take a look at some of the things he said. Slobodan Medada has the same activity patterns as Cyro and Eddie, writing YouTube comments minutes apart from fake Eddie several times.
This is Riolu's world and we live in it. You are correct. I mean, yeah, like I'm trying to think of it like while the video is going, and it's like, as I was saying, like I can't really comprehend it. But yeah, I guess it's just, if you put it in Riolu's foots, it's just like he just can't drop it for some reason. I don't know. It's fucking weird.
This account has gone out of their way to reply to comments on ancient Riolu videos 9 times, shutting down comments that make fun of Riolu for cheating. And like Cyro, Slobodan Medada is also very pessimistic about Riolu's whereabouts. The Reddit user Puchus had long ago noticed that the Slobodan Medada Reddit account had 2 posts from 2013 where Slobodan shared videos from Riolu's YouTube channel. But
like 3D.
These posts have since been deleted.
I was gonna say that has to
After
be Riolu.
messaging him about it, he was able to track them down. On the 13th of June 2013, Slobodan shared the video of Riolu's world record on Canyon AO1 on the r/gaming subreddit. And on the 7th of July, he shared a video of Riolu's world record on Valley AO1 on r/gaming videos. Slobodan also left 2 now deleted comments on the first post.
I mean, if we didn't know all the evidence, I would have said that's not that weird. Like, there are times people upload, like, replays and stuff of things they've seen. But
those who
obviously
saw it
we know
to
the
subscribe
evidence.
to Riolu's channel. It is of course possible that Slobodan was a super fan of Riolu and wanted more people to see his fantastic channel.
Yeah.
But then one might wonder why he would delete the posts.
I
Slobodan's
deleted
comments
it,
online
nice.
after the cheating scandal are often about 92bob, and as Puchus noticed, predominantly about defending Riolu in several instances. And when I made my video about 92bob last year, Slobodan wrote a grand total of 56 comments. It is first one streak of 15 comments on the day the video was posted, before returning one evening
Wait.
of 15 wrote a grand total of 56 comments. It is first one streak of 15 comments on the day the video was posted, before returning one evening, almost half a year later, to drop another 41 comments.
Oh dear. Oh dear. I'm not even gonna bother reading them.
In a Reddit post,
I just find that entire. Let's come back a year later. Let's just comment on every single thing defending Riolu.
On the 27th of May, he argued that BlackQ should be permanently banned from the game, stating in his post that, quote, "In my opinion, he should be banished forever and none of his records, legit or not, should be
rent-free.
uploaded anywhere. BlackQ
That's
has
what the
had
video
enough
should be
chances
called.
to redeem himself within the community, and has spat on every chance he received sooner or later. The community should stop welcoming such individuals that are not contributing anything but a nothing burger. I believe this sends a really bad signal to players within the community, but also the people outside of the Trackmania bubble. Certain lines simply shouldn't be crossed, and patterns of behavior shouldn't be enabled, and I believe BlackQ is one of the very few players,
But it's alright, guys. PP hard
not
if
the
you
only
need to
ever
reply
in
with
Trackmania
anything.
existence who deserves such a treatment. In order to avoid a lawsuit, which Slobodan did threaten in one of his comments, I will state it clearly that we don't know who is making the comments on the Slobodan Medada accounts. But hypothetically, if it does turn out to be Riolu, then I wonder if he would extend that line of thinking in the post to himself as well. Or if this line of logic only applies to those who wronged him, and not those he himself wronged. The last thing I'll say about this is that there just so happens to be a post in 2015 on the Cheat Engine forums from a user with the same exact username. The post reads, "Hey, I've stumbled across a little game on Uplay which I was trying to mod with Cheat Engine for single player purposes only.
Single player purposes only, by the way.
To make it work, I obviously have to hook the process to Cheat Engine, so I'm wondering if Uplay or Steam might get behind it, aka recognize it, and flag my account for hooking third-party tools to the game. Any information on that?" The timing of this post as it relates to Trackmania is peculiar, since just 2 weeks earlier, on the 16th of June 2015, Ubisoft Nadeo unveiled their new game at E3, a Trackmania title that as a PC player would only be available on Uplay. In a reply in the responses he was given, he says, "Thankfully, it's not a Valve game, so I'll give it a try soon. Make of that what you will. We have..."
Alright, now there's evidence. No one's commenting that Valve is less superior.
It's not a Valve game, so I'll give it a try soon.
than Ubisoft.
We have talked about...
Although, to be fair, if this is 2015, they still had some bangers back then. I think that's like Far Cry 3 back then.
about the YouTube comments now, and I don't want to drag out this part for longer than it has to be. But taking a quick look at the last two accounts on the list...
But that's the evidence I needed. Ain't no one saying Ubisoft is king.
Of negative comments towards Nico, BlackQ, Kimura, Spammy...
Now I'm convinced.
They post comments on Riolu's old videos defending him. In October of 2021, shortly after Bob began farming coppers on all accounts, both of these accounts leave YouTube comments begging a top player for coppers. Uren just so happens to have created their account one day apart from Slobodan in 2014, and Swag created...
Bro, how much investigating? So, I've said this like occasionally. I'm like, why is Wirtual not like streaming? Why is Wirtual not uploading that many videos? Bro's going down the drain of like 1 million YouTube channels to find all this.
His account only 3 weeks after that.
Or not even
Then
YouTube
they don't
accounts,
comment
just
on any
like,
of the Trackmania channels
because you've
we
got the
see
details, I
until
guess.
2021, where they all
Just need to find the
converge
account
and
name.
repeatedly comment minutes apart from each other with the same opinions and the same language, too many times to be a coincidence. With all of these things in mind, it can therefore be argued that these comments on these accounts are written by the same person. And as for who that person is, since all these accounts connect back to fake Eddie,
Who is it, guys? Who is it?
Most likely Riolu writing these comments. I am officially exhausted, and it's understandable.
Classic YouTube right there. Hang on, I'm gonna make an intro right here.
If you are too.
Let's go.
Looking at all of this and confronting all the nasty things has made this a very uncomfortable video to create. I thought a lot about if the video should even be made, and after contemplating it,
that's what I've talked about. I'm like, I don't give a shit about drama, but I mean, it's such a silly situation that it does really need to be out there. Like, it's just ridiculous. And if you're gonna not show after all this investigating, like, what's the point?
Community deserves to know and see these things for themselves. I thought about how to make it in the best way possible, and realized that with a subject matter this heavy, there's no good answers. I could summarize the video in 30 seconds, saying, we discovered that rather than apologizing or taking accountability, the biggest cheater in Trackmania began playing on an anonymous account 1 month after being exposed. Nadeo knows this and chose to keep the community in the dark about it with no further explanation. We know Riolu further infiltrated multiple communities, using the identity of his childhood friend without that friend's consent or knowledge, possibly also using the general cool account to dox a player who strongly disliked his cheating, and possibly leaving 3 years worth of hate comments towards his main opponents on anonymous YouTube accounts, that all link together in a spiderweb of matching activity, patterns of behavior, and language used. But without systematically going through the evidence, who's gonna believe all of that? The downside of making the video this long is that it inevitably could lead some people to think, it's just records in a game, lol, why are you taking it so seriously? All in all, I did the best I could.
It's 15 years of cheating.
I truly care about the game, and I wanted to continue being a friendly and enjoyable environment to compete in. In order for that to happen, I really count on Nadeo to consider doing the following. I hope Nadeo can check the information only they have access to, such as hardware ID, to verify who has been flooding the leaderboard with the following accounts, and that they can ban these accounts and or the person doing it from the leaderboards. Next, I want Nadeo—
Wait. Ban the person behind the accounts flooding the leaderboard. What about Jesus is my Christ or whatever the stunt one is? This is the real investigation that needs to happen.
And that they can ban these accounts and or the person doing it from the
I want a video on that.
Next, I want Nadeo to figure out who doxed Misu on the general cool account, and I sincerely hope they take this case seriously as it borders on being an actual criminal offense. I hope they can identify who stole
still don't like the doxing thing.
Impersonated him via hardware ID, and help him retrieve the accounts, as in my conversation with him, he seemed really eager to rediscover his childhood memories. And lastly, I hope Nadeo puts in stronger punishments for cheating, since it should be evident that
Nadeo doing something? I don't think that's going to happen.
Worst offenders to compete with no suspension under new names only further propagates the problems in the community. The things I hope that you as a viewer remember from this video is not all the depravity, but the stories like Nico's, so that when you make mistakes, you can better identify the path that leads to the best outcome. And also that when you see hateful comments, they likely stem from hurt and insecure people, who try to hurt others as a way of dealing with their own deficiencies. The way you should deal with these things is not to write hateful comments back, and I urge everyone to stay civil and respectful to the players featured in this video. I will end with the announcement that I'm going to use some of the money this video makes to put up a cash bounty for the first player to drive a 1781 on the track Snow B1. For the past 2 years, the players in the Trackmania United Forever community have made a huge collective effort to try to repair the damage done by cheaters, by beating the cheated record on every official track.
I was gonna say, is this the only one left?
In the fall of 2024, there was only one cheated record left to beat, a 1781 by Riolu on the track Snow B1. Many of the best players got tantalizingly close with several 1782s, but before they managed to beat it, Eddie swept in and grinded to set the first 1781. Now that we know this record was driven by Riolu, it leaves me feeling that the legitimate players got snubbed from completing the project on their own, which they are absolutely capable of without his help. To reward the incoming achievement, I am putting up a $777 bounty to the first 1781 by a non-cheater.
Is that just me, or did he just completely
perhaps unsurprisingly, that you have to verify your identity after setting the record, as well as live streaming the session and a few other rules. Full requirements can be found in my Discord. That's pretty much all for now. Now that this is off my chest, I will return to making videos
Yes.
that I am passionate about and telling stories that
Surely
inspire me.
no more
rather
drama
than
forever.
internet drama. If you made it all the
In
way here,
Trackmania.
thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing the discussion in the comments. That's all for now. Until next time, have a good one.
Bang a comment right there. That's a good one. Watching in 0.25 speed for real Riolu experience. Nice. I like it. Wirtuals never seen on light again. Oh no. New Trackmania cheater looks inside Riolu. Despair. Had to interrogate my girlfriend, make sure she isn't Riolu. Why would you do that? Surely. Only Riolu can live up to this kind of amount of cheating. This is the biggest digital footprint example I've seen. Yeah, like, let's review the video. Because I'm not really... Like, as I said, I don't like to watch drama, I don't like to look at drama, and I find it's a bit weird that there's a lot of... I mean, to be fair, it's never ever on this kind of scale, you can't beat that scale. But like, there's always small things that people are trying to drama up in Trackmania community, which I find really weird, and I just want to move on. And people don't seem to move on in this game, I found, but it is what it is the internet as well, you gotta kind of spark things, but like this kind of topic needs to be discussed, and I think how he's implemented the video together like is a really well put video, and I do respect that for putting the time in to find such amount of information to pretty much confirm it. Like, that's a well-derived video. I'm not sure what you guys think, but yeah, very well made from Mr. Wordy-chan. At this point, I start to wonder if I'm Riolu. Well, I've never cheated, so I don't think I am. But maybe I am an old account. Do you think Riolu has made an AI system that makes, like, cameras look this realistic and has just set up multiple Twitch accounts on the Trackmania page to react to this? Like, holy shit. What is the... It's Trackmania Iceberg, but only Riolu drama. So yeah, fair enough, honestly. I think that was pretty well made. So now I can finally... One of the reasons why I decided to watch this is because this entire like Trackmania subreddit and Discords and everything else is just like this video. So let's see some of the classic memes. Nice classic meme right there. I mean, unfortunately, this meme needs like 50 Riolus. Maybe you should make this, but have it with the 50. What was it? 65 comments. Oh yeah, I did see this one. How many accounts does this guy have? A spike after the Riolu cheating scandal. That's a good one. That's a fair enough one. This video makes clear that Riolu is still living rent-free in Wirtuals' head. Lol, true. Wait, was this actually on... Ain't no way he didn't include this in the video. I presume this is legit. That's pretty funny. Why does Riolu not just apologize? Oh, I wonder fucking why. Did you watch the video? Is this another Riolu alt account, guys? You're never gonna... See, now everyone's gonna question everything. Like, if I didn't watch this video, now I have to question if this is a Riolu account. Like... How am I going to live anymore? Everything I'm just going to see is just going to be like, is this Riolu? That comment where it's like, we need to think if I'm Riolu now. I get it. I get it now. This guy can't live without Riolu. They really need some help before it's too late. I think I saw this one already. Between 6, yeah. I remember that date already. Can we start with the Rich Hunt? 92 Bob underscore. That's a sussy barker right there. Oh, how I wish your account was created years ago. Fine quality coppers. Riolu has 3,600 all counts. Now we have an accurate representation right here. Now we're talking. I saw this one before the drama. Oh dear. But yeah, that's just the entire subreddit right now. Like, Wirtual has his own subreddit, but now it's just Trackmania's subreddit. Riolu. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I think let's close off the topic. If you guys have anything to say right now, tell it to me. But yeah, I'm not really one for drama, but yeah, it was good that it's shown, and I think it's concluded, and hopefully there's less drama now. And I mean, there's all these tools that like hopefully can expose anyone else if for some reason they're gonna repeat that. But not that anyone can repeat that on a scale that Rielu's done. Let's be honest. I played TM in my life. This drama's great. Yeah, see, I disagree. That's what I don't like about it. Like, people are just clinging for drama. Like, I don't like that, in my opinion. Like, if you change that comment to be like, wow, this was a very informative video, and it's, like, pretty disrespectful that Riolu did such a thing, like, that's fair. I don't like that people are just here for, like, drama. I'm not saying you are, Faxity, but, like, I just, yeah. I see this a lot, and I just, yeah. Is typically why I don't like drama. Everyone's compete for records so bad you forgot to be a human. Next episode in 4 years. Yeah, there was a few comments about that. I fucking hope not, man. I'm so over it. We don't need... I think that's what I like about this video. Like, it's a closed chapter. Like, it makes sense how he's put it together. 10-15 is pretty fucked. Yeah, unfortunately. Aaron's set for people in the community, some not much people outside of it. Yeah. Alright, I think we're done with that. I think we've said pretty much everything. Rachel got me in TM, really made me stop. Yikes. Oh dear. Well, Wirtual should get you back now that he's exposed it, so...